Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Sera here again. I'm here to bring you another deck profile here today. This one is going to be on one of the decks that I love to play a lot. It's not a meta deck at all. It's a tribal all force deck, or a Veedramon deck, as some people will also call it. Um, I just want to let you know again, this is not a meta deck, but this is a deck that you could play and just have some fun with if you're just trying to be a casual player, or if you're just trying to just get some games in and maybe get some experience. This is both a relatively cheap but also kind of expensive, but I can give you some options to try and drop the price of the deck a little bit. But before we get into the deck profile, my name's Sera. I'm a friend of Erratic's. I love this guy and I want to see his YouTube do well. And I just love being able to do some deck profiles like I've always wanted to be. So I decided that instead of doing my own YouTube channel, I would put my deck profiles on for his stuff anytime I had ideas or I had some decks I really love to play that I want to put out there. So this is a deck that you can play at any point in the game state, but you will probably take some losses to certain meta decks out there. Right, currently in EX2, this deck probably won't be doing too hot against things like Galamon and Beelzemon, or even D-Reaper. But this is a deck that can ironically just pop off and end games as soon as turn 3 if you're giving even the slightest bit of memory, or if you get just God hands or God pulls. So let's go ahead and let's start this breakdown of this deck. We're going to start here with the rookies. So let's go ahead and put this deck to the side. And by the rookies, I meant for the eggs. So one thing I'm going to do is after I finish the deck profile is I'm going to show you a few of the combos just so you can see how the deck kind of works. It's actually very memory efficient, and you're going to realize you're not too reliant on your memory tamer. It's actually going to be your other tamers that are where it's going to rely on. So we're going to start this off. We're going to go with 4 of the Demi Vmons from BT3. Demi Vmon, the reason why I like this card is because if you have a Digimon with jamming when attacking, draw 1 card. It's once per turn. Simple enough. Just help keep consistency, help keep the deck flowing, and help be able to keep cards in your hand. So, do what a blue deck does best. Memory, you can draw a lot, and you'll see this deck can do a little bit of that. And then for my 5th egg, it's going to be the starter deck 8 Demi Vmon. When you have 8 cards or more in your hand, gain 1000 DP. This is just to help push all 4 or your other cards a little bit into the higher DP threshold so you're not dying in security as much. After that, we're moving on to the rookies. And I'm saying it correctly this time, the rookies. We're going to start off with 4 EX1 Vmons. This is probably going to be one of your core cards in this deck for what they want to have in your raising. All Force is all about inheritables. The reason why I like this card is because of the fact that whenever a Digimon becomes unsuspended, once per turn, gain 1 memory. And this is whenever that Digimon. So when you're All Force unsuspended, you're going to gain a memory. And if you know All Force already, the BT2 one, or I guess BT3, when it unsuspends, gain a memory. So just from him unsuspending, you're going to gain 2 memory. So really nice, really simple card. Next, we're going to be doing 4 Vmon jammings. These are from BT3. Simple enough, it's jamming, so you're safe to swing with it into security, and you'll be safe with that card unless it's an option card. But if it's an option card, you're kind of getting value out if it dies through something like a Gaia Force, or if it dies through an Iron Fisted Onslaught, things like that. This card, I'm going to say you don't have to run in this deck. This is a Vmon tribal deck, or a Veedramon tribal deck, so it's just running the Vmon line up to All Force. It is an expensive card. I find myself using this card less and less for this deck. It's more of a card that I just kind of put out there whenever I need to do a bit of rookie rushing. If you want to substitute this for the, I think it's BT2 or BT1 Vmon, where when your Digimon becomes unsuspended, draw 1. You could replace that with this. You can replace this card with that draw 1 Vmon instead, and that's perfectly fine. And then, so it's supposed to be actually 4 of the starter deck 8 Vmons. I don't know where my 4th one is hiding actually, but it's supposed to be 4 of them. And it's simple enough. You want 4 of them just because of the effect that when you have 7 or fewer cards, draw 1. It's not once per turn, so with All Force able to swing multiple times, you can potentially get multiple draws in this card. It's also nice that if they have a Mega out in the field, or Then a Mega or higher, you can just Warp Evolve him into an All Force. Simple enough. Again, for some reason, there's this. My fourth copy is probably sitting in my Armor Rush deck. It is what it is, but this is supposed to be 4 copies, not 3. We're moving into the champions now. And then this is where I can actually explain a quick little combo after I break these guys down. So we're going to do 4 of the starter deck Veedramons. It's a great hard play card for 4 cost. It evolves for 2. 5,000 DP, so not a bad card at all. And then its inherited effect I really like because it can get rid of some problems like memory blockers. It can get rid of cards that stop cost reductions, things like that. Because if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you can return an opponent's level 3 Digimon or lower back to their hand. So it doesn't like outright get rid of it, but it does get rid of it for the turn unless they decide not to play it again or instead use an erasing. Good card altogether. I love it. Very solid. I also do 4 of the BT2 Veedramon, and this is a quick reason why. So during your turn, if you have a blue tamer in play, it gains jamming. So here's the quick reason why I really love this card and why I prefer it over some of my other combo pieces is because with the starter deck 8 Veemon and with the BT3 jamming, if you just have something like a Tie-Out, Arena, or a Davis, this Veedramon becomes jamming. So when you have these underneath, because it has jamming, it's going to draw 1 from Demi Veemon. Because Veemon's underneath, since you have 7 cards or less, you'll draw 1. So you'll effectively get 2 draws immediately just for it swinging and having jamming. So there's just that reason right there. After that, we're moving to my last 2. We're going to do 2 of the Secret Rare BT1 Veedramons. If you have a blue tamer in play, unsuspend this Digimon when attacking. Inherited effect, if you have a blue tamer in play, gain 1000 DP. The reason why I don't run 4 or 3 of this card is because of the fact that it is 3 to evolve, so it's expensive for a champion. It is 6 to hard play, it's 6000 DP. Not the most prioritized card. It's one of those cards that if you need to get into the DP game, which you're more worried about swinging as much as possible, and you'll see where, like, All Force just kind of does fine with having only 11 or 12k DP, and you're not really like worried about it. There's other ways to get him to that 12k without needing this Veedramon. So I only run 2 copies. You can probably substitute out the jamming for 2 more of these, and do 2 of the jamming Veedramons for 4 of these guys instead. That's all up to you. Next, we're moving into the Ultimates. It's going to be 4 Arrow Veedramons from starter deck 8. This card is probably going to be your piece de la resistance for this deck. So it has jamming on its own when it's on the field, so you can swing and you get that Demi Veemon effect. You can get that Veemon effect, so you can draw 2 with this card. But then its inherited effect is really where it shines. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, security attack +1. And you know if people who've played All Force or know what All Force does, the fact that he can already swing a lot of times in turn is nasty. Yeah, he's chunking 2 security per swing, and he's attacking a lot. It's just potential OTK, and I've done it against plenty of decks, even meta decks, and I just on an all-out 1, just because of the fact that you can have OTK just because of this card. And finally, we're going to do 4 of the BT2 Arrow Veedramon. So Arrow Veedramon, when Digivolving, if you have Blue Tamer in play, unsuspend 1 of your Blue Digimon. This is great if you have that Veedramon combo I was talking about, where you swing with him and he has jamming to get those 2 draws, and then because you have a Blue Tamer in play also, when you Digivolve into this one, you can unsuspend him immediately, so that way he can't be swung on and killed. They would have to use option card or some other way to delete him and get him off the field, because then next you're going to be going into All Force with him. His inherited effect, when he becomes unsuspended, that Digimon gains jamming. So All Force with jamming and now swinging a lot, again, it's ridiculous. It's great for just chipping away at the security or chunking out their security by getting 3 to 4 swings in a turn. Simple enough. Then we're going to move to the Megas, and you already know what's coming down. We're running 4 All Force from BT2. This card is amazing. It can be stupid, it can pop off, it can do whatever your dreams desire, except for maybe win you a tournament all the time, just because of the fact, again, not a meta deck. So during your turn, when one of your blue tamers becomes suspended, unsuspend him. During your turn, once returned, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory. So again, this is where it works out with EX1 Veedramon. When it becomes unsuspended, you'll gain 2 memory instead of 1. And then because of the fact you're running in this deck 10 blue tamers, 8 of them can be suspended, 2 of them cannot. I can also give you a swap out for those other 2. So this card can let you play a Tai Kamiya for free, which is one of my tamers. He's a 2 cost. So you swing, unsuspend, gain 2, play Tai. That's gonna be another card that you're gonna be using to suspend to unsuspend him. So again, if you just have 2 tamers on the field that could both be suspended, that's 3 attacks with him. If you have Arrow Veedramon with a security +1, that's 6 security in a single turn. If he doesn't die, right? And then I run this other All Force. I run the starter deck 8 All Force. He's a 12k 4 to evolve. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, unsuspend him when attacking. And then when Digivolving, you can return one of your opponent's level 4 or lowers back to their hand. Not a core card, in my opinion. You can go for the All Force 0, the promo card, and if you want to go for that, maybe a Slayer Dramon. This is a Veedramon Tribal, so I decided to stick to this All Force. It's not horrible. Don't get me wrong, it's not horrible, but you're not trying to see yourself use this card constantly. It's going to be one of those, well, if you don't have a choice, really. I've tried the All Force 0. I didn't really like it comparatively to this one, so I just stuck to this. The reason why I don't just do 4 All Forces is because while this deck does have a lot of draw power, I've had games when I didn't have 6 megas in this deck where I was bricking. So I said, screw it. I'm going to put these 2 guys in. I'm going to have fun with that. We're going to move on to our option cards, and I'll give you 2 suggestions and changes for this. So we're going to do 3 Hammer Sparks, and you know what Hammer Sparks does: gain a memory for free. If you hit it in security, gain 2 memory. Simple enough. You can run 4 of these instead. I do 3 and 1 Ice Wall. Ice Wall is just literally there to slow them down so they can't attack as much. It also has the same security effect as Hammer Spark. Good card. So again, you can either do 4 Hammer Sparks altogether, or you can do 3 in an Ice Wall. I like 3 in an Ice Wall, just again, if I'm having a little trouble, the Ice Wall helps slow down the gameplay a little bit. And then the final thing for my option cards are 2 Kakaida's Breath. So the reason why I like this is because of the fact that I can bounce level 7s like Zort Defeat. That way it doesn't trigger its on deletion. That's one of the core reasons why I really play it. Things like Susanomon, so sure, they pay 7, they put 10 hybrids and tamers back to the bottom of their deck. You bounce it. Generally, once they put those 10 back into their deck, they can't just replay Susano immediately because of the fact that those 10 cards they were trying to get into the trash and then put back in their deck is now in their deck, and they have to reload their trash in their hand all over again. So it does stall them a little bit. You can run I think it's V Wingblade, which it does the same thing as Kakaida's Breath, but it's only level 6 or below. I just prefer this one because it allows me to target everything, and I'm not just stuck on level and down. It's also, since it's not stuck on level, you can use it on cards like in the future. This doesn't work on Mother D Reaper, but if we get the Cyber Sleuth creatures, maybe it'll work on them. But again, you can switch this out for maybe if you want to run Blue Memory Boost instead, or you can run the V Wing Blade instead. I like this. It's just my personal choice. Feel free to switch it out to whatever you feel more comfortable with. Then we're going to finish off with the Tamers. I do 2 Davis. Now this card, again, he's a little bit on the expensive side, so if you don't want to run him, you can do Sora and Joe, which is 2 more Tamers that can be suspended, unlike this guy who cannot be suspended at all. He's a good search card, so it'll help you dig for your pieces. And it's simple enough as that. One of the most broken tamers in the game. It allows you to search dual colors if you're running decks like Imperial Dramon or even Armor Rush. Or down the line, like we've seen with Examon. If you've seen that guy, he's a dual color blue-green, so he can search for him easily. So yeah, that's him for a memory tamer. Next, I do 2 Arenas. And the reason why I do 2 Arenas is because she's a 3 to hard play. Her ability is on play, reveal 3 cards, and then you can add any Digimon with V in its name to your hand, only one of them. When one of your blue Digimon attacks, you can suspend her to gain 1000 DP. This is what allows All Force to kind of push up a little bit. And then with Arrow Veedramon, the BT2 one, because you're swinging with All Force, then you're immediately tapping her. He's going to unsuspend, and then he'll immediately gain jamming instead of with like Tai, where you have to wait till after the attack to then tap him to unsuspend and then gain the jamming. So I run two of her. And then finally, I run 4 Tai V Tamers. and simple enough is because he's a 2-cost. Um, you know, if you have a Veedramon on the field, this is what allows you to combo with Veedramon, the Vmon, and the Demi Vmon. You can get 3 draws through that combo. Just playing him, playing Veedramon, swinging with Veedramon, then tapping Tide to 3 draws right there. So it allows you to quickly get to that 8 cards in your hand or more to get those bonus effects of DP or security or returning cards back to hand. This card also allows, like I said, with EX1 Vmon and All Force, you'll gain 2 memory when All Force unsuspends. That's a free tie to play, and then draw with that or give him more DP. Solid card. If you want to replace it, I really don't know what to recommend replacing it. Either put 2 more Arenas in, or maybe go just 4 Arenas and 4 Sora and Joes, or 3 Davises and 4 Arenas. It's up to you, really. But that is the entire deck. I've given you my suggestions for what you could swap out. Again, this is not a meta deck. By no means is this a meta deck. This is a fun deck, though, that can just potentially just slam you a win out of nowhere. Its biggest weakness is Black War Greymon, because that deck can just outright delete 3 ties because it's up to a play cost of 6 on Black War Greymon. So you can just delete my entire chamber board pretty much and stop all my swings. So that's the entire deck profile. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Erratic's a great man. I really want to see him do good with this video. I'm sorry I made this so long, but I really wanted to break it down a little bit more, and my friend also told me I talked a little fast, so I tried to slow it down a little bit. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening.